In this video, I'm going to run through my own payday routine that helps me to easily optimize my finances, to cover bills, enjoy myself, and invest for the future. More specifically, the 3 steps I routinely follow once I receive my paycheck every month. It's allowed me to build an 80k dividend portfolio, own 3 properties, and most importantly, live an enjoyable life. People are often surprised at the simplicity of this method, but as Leonardo da Vinci famously said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Let's get into it. So first of all, I think it's important to be deliberate in knowing exactly what you want to do with your salary. For me, each month, I want to make sure that I have enough cash to pay bills, enough cash to enjoy myself, and enough cash to invest for the future. Therefore, the money that I make each month will be used towards 3 categories of spend: fixed costs, variable costs, and investments. Before I talk about the actual strategy that I use, let's look a bit deeper into what I mean by these categories. Starting with money for fixed costs. This is money set aside to pay for things that I know I have to pay for each month. I think of these as the essentials. Examples include rent or mortgage, council tax, phone bill, internet bill, gym membership, and home and car insurance. These tend to be the same price each month, which really helps with budgeting. And although it isn't specifically a fixed cost, I also set aside some cash for my food shop, utility bills, and fuel or transport costs. In essence, these fixed costs are unavoidable expenses that I'd struggle to live without. Now let's look at money for variable costs. Each month there will be some variable spend, and this can be literally anything: a restaurant bill, some drinks with friends, tickets for the cinema, or buying some new clothes. I don't have to spend this money, but I think it's important to live your life and not restrict yourself of things that you enjoy. Personally, I don't think that being hyper-frugal is a clever idea. I believe life is more than just scrimping and scraping every last penny that you can. It's important to live a life that you enjoy, but in moderation, of course. And last, but by no means least, the final category is money to invest. This is money put aside to invest in my stock portfolio or property or anything else where I look to make a return. If you've watched any other videos on my channel, you'll know that my preference is investing in assets that generate cash flow. Like the money that I allocate for my fixed costs, I also treat my investment allocation as a bill. I think of this as something that I have to pay every month. I have my phone bill, my council tax bill, my mortgage bill, so this is my investing bill that also has to be paid. This way, I've conditioned myself into believing that I can't miss a payment. Those are my categories of spend, and the next step is an important one in this strategy. It involves keeping these categories segregated through multiple bank accounts. This is important because it mitigates the risk of overspending in each category. The last thing that you want to do is accidentally spend the money needed to pay your electricity bill and spend the next month living by candlelight. Likewise, you don't want to blow your salary payment within a couple of weeks and have nothing left to invest in the future. But also, you don't want to be so frugal that you don't have any money left to actually enjoy yourself and indulge in what makes you happy in life. That's how multiple bank accounts can help. I have a bank account where my salary gets paid into, and this would relate to the variable costs. Then I have a separate bank account where all of my fixed costs come out for my bills and my essential spend. And finally, my stock investing portion is kept separate in my investment broker, Trading 212. So those are the categories of spend and how I segregate them, but how much do I put into each area? This will differ from person to person, but for my personal situation, the split is around 40% for fixed costs, 15% for variable costs, and 45% for investments. The best way to calculate this for yourself would be to total up all of the fixed costs that you have and deduct this from your paycheck. Whatever is left will need to be split across your variable costs and your investment amount. This will be personal preference. If you want to invest more, you're likely to have to sacrifice some of your variable costs from your wants pot and vice versa. It has taken a bit of trial and error in the earlier stages of this strategy to refine my budget into something that really works well for me and doesn't leave me short in any area. Also, as I mention a lot in my videos, I really do focus my efforts on increasing my income. Simply earning more does make budgeting a lot easier than trying to cut out all expenses as low as possible. Remember, expenses have a floor, where you won't be able to go any lower. Whereas with your income, there's no limit to how much you can earn. So how does this all work in reality? I'm now going to run through a quick example of how this works for me every payday. As soon as that money hits my account, I pay myself first. This means that I move the 40% fixed cost to my fixed cost account and don't touch it. I then move 45% into my Trading 212 account. This leaves the remaining 15% in my variable cost account, which I'll look to live off for the month. I also make this process even easier by automating these transfers through a standing order. Then, at the end of the month, whatever's left in my variable cost account gets moved out, either to top up the fixed costs ready for next month and build a bit of a buffer, or to move it into one of my investments. So whether it's £50 remaining or £500 remaining, it's swept away, so that I start from zero again for the next month. If I didn't sweep out that residual cash at the end of the month, I might find myself building up a nice little cash surplus. And this would lead me to think, I have £1,000 saved up, let's go and spend it. And it would likely be on something that I don't actually need or want. So moving it out of the account mitigates this temptation. Again, I want to reiterate this, I don't want to live an overly frugal life, but I do want to make sure that I'm valuing the cash that I earn and that I use it wisely. To sum up the video, the key points for me are: number 1, to have a budget, number 2, to pay yourself first, and number 3, to split your salary into separate accounts to easily segregate the spend categories. As you can see, I don't do anything complicated or magical, but this method has allowed me to build an 80k stock portfolio and own 3 properties, all on an average UK salary. I do think that in order to achieve any goal, you need a plan, and you'd be surprised at the number of people that I speak to that don't have a plan and therefore struggle with their finances. I'm not saying that this is the best and only way to do things, but it does work well for me. Let me know if you already do something similar in the comments section below. And if not, let me know what your approach is for Payday. I'll be reading and responding to every message that I can. I hope that you found this video interesting and informative, and I hope that it's given you inspiration and ideas for your own personal finances. If you have enjoyed the video, please drop me a like, and subscribe to the channel to make sure that you don't miss any future videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.